when Lucas and I got married. We didn't even have a wedding. We just registered for a marriage certificate. But now that his first love has returned from abroad, he's planning an extravagant, grand wedding of the century. My heart turned cold that very night. I slammed the divorce papers onto the table, packed my bags, and left. The next day, as soon as I stepped off the plane, I saw over a dozen missed calls and a flood of messages from Lucas. Lucas, here's a joke for you, someone's getting married tomorrow. But the bride ran away. Lucas, yeah, that's me. I'm losing it. Where the hell are you? Chapter 01. I've been married to Lucas for 5 years. But if you counted the times we've actually met, you could tally them on your fingers. 3 times a year, 2 weeks at a time. And out of those 2 weeks, 10 days were spent in bed. He's the typical domineering CEO you see in dramas, filthy rich, controlling empires worth billions, handling million-dollar deals from morning till night. I have no idea how he even found time to sculpt his body into the shape of a Greek god. He looks incredible in a suit, with sharp, chiseled features that make him irresistible. When he puts on his gold-rimmed glasses, he transforms into a refined and untouchable man. Who would have thought that someone so composed and restrained could turn into a wild beast in private? Maybe being confined to his polished persona for so long left him no choice but to unleash his true self in private moments. This was our second reunion of the year, after barely surviving until his next overseas trip. I was trembling as I helped him pack his luggage. Lucas sat lazily on the sofa, not even bothering to look up as he asked, "Are you hoping I'll leave soon?" "That's right, no. I'll miss you," I blurted out without thinking, quickly swallowing my careless words. I tried to soften my tone. "We spend so little time together. I just want to do something nice for you." Lucas leaned forward, his shadow looming over me. "There are plenty of things you can do for me, and packing luggage isn't one of them." Seeing the flicker of desire in his eyes, I almost collapsed right then and there. Ding dong. The doorbell saved me, whoever it was. I made a mental note to light incense and worship them later. It turned out to be Sandra, Lucas's mother. She exuded elegance, her jewelry sparkling even in daylight. One look at her, and it was obvious she was a well-maintained, wealthy lady with refined tastes. Her sharp features bore a striking resemblance to Lucas's. Even if she hadn't arrived just in time to save me, I still would have treated her like royalty. After all, she's the mother of my golden ticket, of course. She deserves to be worshipped. Chapter 02. Strictly speaking, my marriage with him wasn't healthy. We met and got married within 24 hours. At that time, I was down and out, homeless, like a dying puppy. Lucas crouched in front of me and said calmly, "Marry me, you'll have food, a place to stay, and money to spend." I'm rarely home. He knew exactly how to propose to a stranger. We registered our marriage in the afternoon. I moved into a garden villa in the city center that night, and the next day, my husband left for a 6-month business trip, leaving me with an unlimited black card. At first, it felt like a dream. It took me a long time to get used to this luxurious lifestyle. And well, when he returned from his trips, I naturally fulfilled my duties as a wife, even though I always ended up sore and weak, thinking about everything I enjoyed. I gritted my teeth and endured it. So, Lucas and I were more like a sugar daddy and a kept woman. Only Sandra didn't know the truth. She believed that if her son willingly married an ordinary woman, it had to be true love, and whatever her son liked, she was more than satisfied with it. When Lucas was away, Sandra frequently visited. Sometimes she brought expensive supplements. Other times she checked whether our relationship was stable, as if I could ever leave Lucas. Whenever she saw Lucas and me being affectionate, her usually composed face lit up with smiles. Clearing her throat lightly, she said, "This isn't the best time for me to visit, is it? Should I leave?" "No." I rushed over and hugged her, tears nearly falling. "Mom, Lucas and I missed you so much. The driver's downstairs. Call me if you need anything." Lucas gave me a meaningful look, nodded at Sandra, and left. I was saved. I breathed a sigh of relief, but exhaustion washed over me again, and I leaned against Sandra's embrace. Sandra, with her experienced eye, noticed my state and smiled knowingly. It seems Lucas's time at the gym hasn't gone to waste. Your married life seems pretty harmonious. Who wouldn't feel awkward discussing this topic with their mother-in-law? Blushing furiously, I stammered and didn't respond. Sandra helped me sit down and then touched my stomach. A second later, her smile grew even wider. Oh my, this belly looks a bit rounder. Let's schedule an ultrasound at the hospital. No, Mom. I'm not pregnant. I just gained a little weight. Sandra's face fell slightly. I'm not one of those mothers-in-law who pressure for grandchildren. I'm very open-minded. But you two always pass your health checkups after 5 years of marriage. It's about time for some news. Zoe, if you had a child, you wouldn't leave Lucas, and I'd feel more at ease. Isn't it usually the weaker party who uses children to hold on to their partner? Please. Doesn't she realize how desirable her son is? And yet, she's afraid I'd leave him? The logic of this mother and son always makes me feel like I'm some prized treasure. But I know very well that I'm not. Whether it's my family or myself, everything about me is broken, even though I once had wings and the chance to soar. Chapter 03. 1 week after Lucas went on his business trip, my long-estranged sister Nicole sent me a message. Zoe, have you seen today's headlines? She forwarded a string of news articles, all trending topics about Lucas's latest scandal. Hashtag famous actress spotted on same flight as CEO. Hashtag CEO and actress staying at the same hotel. Hashtag 10 hours of silence. Is this their official announcement? Hashtag. I glanced at the headlines and replied with a simple, "Oh." Nicole wasn't satisfied. She bombarded me with voice messages, but I didn't open a single one. It wasn't until my mother called that I forced myself to pick up after a long mental battle. Zoe, how can you be so cold and heartless? Your sister is stuck in a wheelchair, and she still worries about you. Don't you have any gratitude? She was supposed to marry into wealth, and yet you're the one living the good life without ever showing appreciation. You're nothing but an ungrateful wretch. Her cruel words pulled me back into a whirlpool of pain. Nicole and I are 3 years apart. But my mother has always favored her, firmly believing in raising the elder like a princess and the younger like a peasant. Nicole had designer clothes and attended countless specialized classes. I only got her hand-me-downs. Thankfully, my dad cared for me. When he saw me staring longingly at ballet shoes, he fought with my mom and insisted on enrolling me in dance classes. From then on, ballet became the one thing I excelled at, something I was better at than Nicole, though Nicole begged to join too. She lacked talent, and for once, I felt secretly proud. I thought, if I became good enough, maybe I could earn the same love Nicole had. But everything ended abruptly when I was 12. On the day of a competition, it rained heavily. A truck overturned and crushed our car on the way to the event. My dad, who was driving, died instantly. Nicole lost her legs, and I lost the only person who truly loved me. Mom's favoritism turned to outright hatred. But it wasn't my fault. Nicole had begged Dad to avoid the highway and stopped to buy her a new dress. That's why he changed routes, leading to the accident. Mom refused to believe it, or even listen. She stormed onto the stage, yanked me down, and screamed through her tears, "What right do you have to dance? Your father died because of you. Your sister lost her legs because of you. How dare you stand in the spotlight?" Chaos erupted. For the first time, I defied her. Ignoring everyone, I danced to the end, because Dad had promised he'd watch me perform and see his beloved daughter shine. But when I looked into the audience, he was no longer there to clap with teary eyes. Nicole couldn't dance anymore, and Mom stopped my lessons too, ignoring pleas from my teacher. "Zoe doesn't deserve to dance. Leave. Stay away from this cursed girl, or you'll be next." Darkness consumed my teenage years. Only when I got into college and moved far away did I finally breathe again. I secretly practiced ballet in the campus studio, hoping Dad could see me. I never abandoned my training. "Dad, if there's another competition, you'll watch, won't you?" I spent 4 years in college, working tirelessly, and finally stood under the spotlight again after graduation. But Mom came, with Nicole in her wheelchair. Everything fell apart. They watched me stumble and fall, laughing wildly and shamelessly. I fled from the competition, devastated, and collapsed in the streets. That was the day I met Lucas. And that was how I became the untouchable wife of a wealthy CEO, the one person they could no longer hurt. But it only fueled Nicole's jealousy and hatred. Now, seeing Lucas caught in scandals, she must be thrilled. She probably thinks my marriage is over. I bet she's celebrating. Chapter 04. Honestly, I was surprisingly calm. After climbing up the social ladder by marrying Lucas for 5 years, every extra second of this comfortable and free life felt like a blessing. I was always prepared for the possibility of divorce. The rumors kept brewing for days. The company didn't clarify anything. Instead, they announced that the new product would be endorsed by the very same actress involved in the scandal. While calculating how much Lucas might give me as a breakup settlement, he came back, and there I was, devouring a pork knuckle while streaming his scandal on the big screen, thoroughly enjoying myself. Your husband's caught in a scandal, and you seem quite happy about it? Lucas leaned against the doorway, arms crossed, his tone carrying a hint of displeasure. I froze in embarrassment, wiping my greasy hands and mouth. I forced a nervous smile. I'm actually devastated. Can't you tell? But whether you want me to take care of her during her maternity leave or step aside immediately, I'm fine with either. I'm not ungrateful. After living such a good life for so long, the least I could do was stay understanding and cooperative. Lucas's eyes flickered with an unreadable expression. Then, he tossed aside his suit jacket and loosened his tie with his slender fingers. He strode toward me, when he pulled me into his arms and started kissing my neck, leaving me slightly ticklish. I was momentarily stunned. Such energy. Didn't the other woman wear him out? Lucas's husky voice interrupted my thoughts. She's the company's prearranged spokesperson for the new product. The scandal was just marketing hype. I've never even met her alone. I was about to ask if this was his explanation, but before I could speak, his lips silenced me, leaving no room for words, only gasps. Looks like my days as Mrs. Lucas are far from over. As I was tossed onto the bed, that was the only thought running through my head. Lucas, however, was unusually talkative tonight. He whispered in my ear, "Zoe, let's have a baby." Chapter 05. I wasn't completely obedient to Lucas, at least when it came to having kids. I played along while secretly defying him. Every time he got up to shower, I'd sneak a pill into my mouth. Amen. It's not that I don't want kids, it's that I know my limits. I've always been prepared for the day Lucas might kick me out. If that day comes, I want to leave cleanly, without any ties. But if I had a child, I couldn't bear for them to grow up in a broken home or risk a stepmother mistreating them. After all, I'd once secretly seen a photo of Lucas's first love. It was tucked away in the corner of his bookshelf. A tall, strikingly confident heiress with bold, captivating features. Her name is Rita. She grew up with Lucas, but she chose to pursue art and left the country to study abroad just a week before Lucas and I met. I know she'll come back. No woman could leave a man like Lucas forever. When that day comes, I'll be cast aside, and she and Lucas will be the perfect match. A proud woman like her wouldn't willingly raise another woman's child. I have to protect my future children. The sound of the shower stopped abruptly, and I quickly hid the magazine, closed the drawer, and covered the pill box before sliding under the covers. Blushing, I called out softly, "Honey, you're so fast." "Oh, are you saying you weren't satisfied just now?" Seeing Lucas's expression darken dangerously, I wanted to slap myself. After nearly an hour of intense activity, I was utterly exhausted. If this is what he calls quick, then, no. I meant the shower. You're done. So now it's my turn. I practically crawled into the bathroom, turned on the shower, and hoped the water would drown out the awkwardness. But Lucas followed me in. I was so done. Yet, Lucas didn't look insatiable this time. He looked furious. He reached out and turned off the water, towering over my trembling form. He stared down at me. "Zoe, do you really not want to have my child?" In his hand was the pill box I'd hidden. If I said it's vitamins, would you believe me? I feigned shock and spat out the lie without hesitation. Unfortunately, Lucas wasn't an idiot. He stared at me for a long moment, then tossed the pill box aside and walked out. Chapter 06. Lucas had been staying in the country recently, yet he rarely came home. I knew we were in the middle of a cold war. Given that I was living off my benefactor, the least I could do was not make him angry. I debated whether I should apologize first. But Lucas came home that afternoon. Behind him, a bodyguard carried a large designer gift box. He placed it in front of me and opened it. Inside was a white ballet-style evening gown. For a moment, I wanted to bolt out the door. I had overlooked one thing: Lucas, as a powerful CEO, could easily hire a private investigator to dig up my entire past. Was this his way of punishing me, forcing me to remember those dark and hopeless days? Lucas's expression remained as calm as ever. There's a cocktail party for the product launch. To clear up the rumors about me and the spokesperson, I need my wife to attend with me. I snapped back to reality. Subtle revenge wasn't Lucas's style. In the business world, he was known for being decisive and ruthless. And when we first met, he didn't need an investigation to see how down and out I was, yet he still chose me. Didn't he? Seeing my hesitation, Lucas's sharp brows furrowed slightly. I think this dress suits you well. If you don't like it, I'll have someone bring other options. I immediately hugged the dress and flashed a flattering smile. I love it. You have great taste. Honey, try it on. I also had shoes picked out to match. After sending the bodyguard away, Lucas fixed his gaze on me as I changed. Even though we'd been married for years, I still blushed under his stare. The moment I touched the gown, memories surfaced. Wearing a ballet dress and standing under the spotlight had always made me feel like a swan. Attending high-end events was part of my duty as the CEO's wife. I couldn't afford to look out of place. This dress, with its ballet-inspired design, gave me an air of poise and confidence. His taste was impeccable. The gown had a white base with silver sequins. The deep V-neck was elegant without being vulgar, and the layered tulle skirt added texture and sophistication. Paired with sparkling, strappy heels, I felt elegant and radiant for the first time in a while. Straightening my back, I lifted my chin. Standing in front of the mirror, I instinctively posed like a ballerina. Lucas's eyes burned as he watched. His voice turned husky. It suits you perfectly. You really do have great taste. Honey, I complimented him. The Cold War turned into a heated battle in bed. If it weren't for the party looming, I doubted he would have let me go so easily. Chapter 07. At the gala, I arrived arm in arm with Lucas, who was dressed in a sleek tailcoat. Naturally, we became the center of attention. Is that the CEO's wife? She looks so plain. Must be from an ordinary family, right? She's just mildly attractive. To climb into a real wealthy family, she must have used some tricks. The CEO and Rita are a much better match. I heard Rita is coming back soon. This marriage might be over. The malicious stares and whispers around me made me uncomfortable. Lucas silently took my hand, gently rubbing my wedding ring. That small gesture had a calming effect. Like magic, the spokesperson nodded politely at us from afar, her expression neutral and distant, silently dispelling the rumors about her and Lucas. When Lucas's assistant approached briskly, I let go of his hand understandingly. I need to greet someone. Find a quiet spot to rest and wait for me, he said. Lucas strode away. Tall and elegant, just his silhouette felt like the kind of unattainable moonlight I could never hold on to. Sandra appeared out of nowhere and patted my shoulder. She smiled warmly. As usual, I know you're not used to these events, since Lucas and I have to socialize. Your mother and sister said they'd keep you company, and I agreed. Mother-in-law, go ahead and take care of business. I smiled politely. Not far away, the mother and sister who had haunted my nightmares were approaching. I hadn't seen them in 5 years since marrying into wealth, worlds apart from their reach. At most, they'd occasionally try to undermine me through social media, which barely affected me. But now, dressed in fine clothes, they clearly had Sandra's support. I didn't feel upset or anxious. Instead, I was surprisingly calm. Well, look at you, little sister, turning into a phoenix perched high above, Nicole said, her smile dripping with venom. Her face had grown harsher over the years. But have you heard? Rita's coming back, Lucas's childhood sweetheart. You're nothing but a placeholder, soon to be discarded. Ha! And showing up to a high-end gala in a ballet dress? Don't tell me you think you can still dance. I glanced briefly at her empty skirt hem and smirked without responding. Their faces instantly darkened. Mom lowered her voice, but it was still sharp. Zoe, you're nothing but a disgraceful ingrate who doesn't deserve love. If I were still a teenager, those words would have shattered me. But now, I couldn't care less. Ignoring Mom, I leaned down toward Nicole. Sister, you got all of Mom's love. I'm so envious. But can love make your legs grow back? Blunt and straight to the point. My words hit Nicole where it hurt the most. Her heavily made-up face twisted in rage, and she clawed at me, trying to grab my hair. Unfortunately for her, I took a step back, leaving her helpless. I raised a finger to my lips in a silent gesture. Making a scene here will get you thrown out. With that, I turned and walked away. I was sure my retreating figure resembled that of a victor. Only the growing dull pain in my stomach broke the illusion. Once out of sight, I curled up like a shrimp, just like the day I first met Lucas. Pathetic and helpless. Chapter 08. When my mood hits rock bottom, my stomach aches. My friend, Olivia, is a doctor. She once told me it's a psychosomatic reaction. We were in the same dance class. She witnessed firsthand how that mother and daughter treated me and still chose to be my friend. She's the only one. She said, Zoe, don't push yourself too hard. Call me if it gets unbearable. So, with trembling hands, I opened our chat. I typed our secret code, 111. The next second, her call came through. Zoe, where are you? I'm coming to get you. Her unconditional concern made me burst into tears. I looked around and stammered. It's the company's gala I'm at. A long, slender hand snatched the phone away. Lucas said, I'll take care of her. I'll call you when she's better. Then he hung up and carried me straight through the gala. All eyes were on us. At home, he often carried me like a princess before throwing me onto the bed. But this was the first time he did it in public. The burning heat in my cheeks dulled the ache in my stomach. For a moment, I really felt like the pampered heroine of a romance novel. See? No matter what anyone says, the CEO spoils me. I caught my sister's eyes burning with jealousy as she watched us. I narrowed my eyes, noticing how her knuckles turned white as she gripped the wheelchair's handles. Satisfaction welled up inside me. I must have saved the galaxy in my past life to deserve Lucas and this life of luxury. Mom was equally furious but didn't dare to speak up. She probably thought that if my sister could still walk, she would have stolen Lucas from me. As we passed them, my sister forced a concerned look. Sister, what happened to you? Did you get sick because you're not used to fine dining after eating plain food for so long? Mom chimed in. This ungrateful girl has no manners. I almost laughed. At the same time, I felt sad for my past self. How did I let these brainless women manipulate me for so long? I'm the wife of a CEO now, and they're implying Lucas mistreats me? Sure enough, Lucas stopped in his tracks. His sharp gaze swept over them. Security. Throw them out. And starting today, your monthly allowance of $100,000 is cancelled. If you show up in front of my wife again, be prepared to end up on the streets. Huh, that was a lot to process. But seeing their shocked and humiliated faces made me feel ecstatic. Chapter 09. By the time the family doctor arrived, looking exhausted from the trip, my stomachache had already disappeared. I scratched my head awkwardly. It comes and goes. Sorry for making you come all this way for nothing. It's fine. A quick checkup shows no major issues. You just look a bit overworked. Make sure to rest more and schedule a full checkup at the hospital when you have time. Overworked? Did he have to be that blunt? I shot Lucas a resentful look, but he calmly instructed the doctor to give the cook more recipes for therapeutic meals. After seeing the doctor off, he told the driver to head home. I quickly stopped him. I'm fine now. The gala has only been going for 20 minutes. Isn't it bad for you to leave so soon? Who can tell the CEO what to do? Well, he had a point. Having survived the worst of my psychosomatic symptoms, my head finally cleared. I cautiously asked him, have you always been giving my mom and sister an allowance? Did you arrange their house too? Yes, to keep them from bothering you. For a moment, I was speechless. For 5 years, I thought my mom and sister had stayed away because they didn't dare offend the wealthy family I married into. But the truth was, they weren't so easy to deal with. It was my cold yet reliable CEO husband who quietly handled them without my knowing. The peace and wealth I enjoyed, he had carried the burden all along. I felt touched. Unfortunately, I had no skills, no resources. The only way I could repay him was by pleasing him in certain moments. Feeling sentimental, I hugged his broad, solid frame, even hesitating about whether I should give him a child. After all, our only fight was about that. But I quickly dismissed the thought. Repaying him shouldn't come at the expense of a child's life. I'd make up for what I owed Lucas by being considerate and thoughtful, offering emotional support and a healthy body, and knowing when to step aside without being a burden. Those were probably the only ways I could repay him. In the breathless aftermath, I murmured in his ear, "Lucas, I wish you eternal happiness." His back tensed for a moment, but then he held me closer and replied softly, Chapter 10. Without a source of income, my sister began harassing me day and night. "Zoe, you'd better give Mom and me our allowance back, or you'll regret it. Blood is thicker than water. You won't just sit back and watch us starve, will you? Ha, don't get too comfortable, you jinx. What's happening to us now will happen to you soon enough." Her erratic behavior was honestly amusing. I hadn't blocked her or Mom before because I wanted to keep an eye on them and avoid any surprise attacks. Now, I just saw them as entertainment. Watching their antics was my new pastime. When Nicole's threats didn't work, she switched tactics, trying to mess with my emotions. She started forwarding me news and videos about Rita. Hashtag who can resist this tragic love story of the year? Hashtag the CEO and Rita, too perfect to handle. Hashtag Rita returns at the end of the month, will this old flame reignite? Hashtag. I clicked the videos out of curiosity, but watching those clips of the perfect golden couple left me feeling uneasy. Even with Lucas by my side, I didn't feel like I matched him, and I didn't dare to imagine I could keep him forever. With 10 days left until the end of the month, when his first love would return, I figured that was also my deadline to leave. But ever since my stomach aches, Lucas had stopped traveling and started working from home. I didn't even have a chance to quietly pack away a few valuables. He kept a close eye on me, making sure I went to bed early, drank the therapeutic soups the cook prepared, and even dragged me to the gym. Whenever I showed signs of exhaustion, he'd tease, "Do you want to exercise at the gym or in the bedroom?" SOS, who else suffers from a husband with too much stamina? Even when I was sprawled out like a dead dog, Lucas looked unconvinced. "Ballet's tiring too. How are you this week? If you were going to dig into my past, at least get the details right." I practiced on and off by myself, and I haven't touched it since we got married. I wasn't surprised, just rolled my eyes helplessly. He shook his head. "I didn't investigate you. I just knew the version of you that once stood on stage." Under my stunned gaze, he silently opened his computer in the study. On the desktop, there was a folder marked with a heart icon. It was filled with videos of all my ballet performances, big and small. That's when I realized our first meeting wasn't by chance. The dance studio my dad took me to had been right next to Lucas's advanced math class. He had known me all along. Choosing to marry me wasn't a random decision. Chapter 11. I slowly began to realize that Lucas might actually like me. That idea was even more absurd than him picking me off the street to be his wife. Unable to sleep, I stared at his silhouette in the dark. I think I had feelings for him too, but I didn't dare to act on them, couldn't allow myself to. In this world, a little love wasn't enough to overcome all obstacles. He probably liked the swan that once stood under the spotlight, not the broken version of me. My mind was a tangled mess, and I didn't even remember when I drifted off. I vaguely recalled hearing Lucas on a phone call, "Fly in the flowers from their origin. If they wilt, replace them immediately. As for the decorations, I'll supervise everything on site." When I woke up, Lucas was already gone. Even without his supervision, I had gotten used to waking up early and working out over the past 2 weeks. Standing in front of the full-length mirror in the gym, I suddenly felt the urge to dance. I warmed up, stretched, and tried a few basic positions. Then I dared to spin and leap. Thud. The stiff swan collapsed heavily onto the floor. I understood then, I could never regain the proud version of myself that once was. A sharp pain tore through my lower abdomen, followed by a warm flow between my legs. The pain left me too weak to call for the housekeeper. I struggled to reach for my phone, thinking to call Lucas, but a message from my sister popped up first. The company spent a fortune booking Rose Manor. They're planning the wedding of the century. Do you think it has anything to do with you? Good luck, little sister. You'll soon be nothing but a stray dog. Don't think about coming home to freeload. We don't have a room for you anymore. The news matched Lucas's earlier phone call. Right now, in the company, only Lucas had the qualifications to host such a grand wedding. And after 5 years of marriage, all I had with him was a certificate, nothing more. His first love, Rita, was coming back, and the wedding of the century was already in motion. Don't be greedy. You always knew he wasn't yours. He was busy planning his wedding. I couldn't interrupt him. So, I opened Olivia's chat and sent 111, along with my address. I guess I wasn't that sad. The tears were just because of the pain. Chapter 12. Olivia took me to the hospital. After a series of tests, she returned with a complicated expression. I joked. You look terrible. Don't tell me I have cancer? Shush. Don't say such unlucky things. Olivia covered my mouth and then said hesitantly, You've heard about the wedding of the century the company is planning, right? Yeah, and I know Rita's coming back. My days as a wealthy wife are numbered. One look at her told me she understood the bride wouldn't be me. Olivia let out a long sigh. This baby really couldn't have come at a worse time. Can you still leave quickly? She handed me the diagnosis paper. It read, threatened miscarriage. Avoid strenuous activity. Bed rest required. I touched my abdomen, and my first reaction was joy. Despite taking so many birth control pills and falling without knowing I was pregnant, maybe this was a gift from above. I was about to lose Lucas, but I'd still have a small piece of him. Olivia, help me keep this baby a secret. I made my decision quickly. Olivia frowned with concern. What's your next step? Obviously, I'm running away with the baby. What else? Let them keep the father and leave the child? I immediately booked a flight for tonight and started liquidating the assets Lucas and Sandra had entrusted to me over the years. I'm not greedy, but babies are expensive. Shamelessly, I'll take a little extra for formula money. I took a taxi home, left the signed divorce papers in the bedroom, and quietly headed to the airport. Olivia wanted to see me off, but I refused, saying it wasn't good for a pregnant woman to cry. Goodbyes should be silent, whether it's friendship or hopeless love. Just before I turned off my phone on the plane, the company's official page posted teaser photos. A 1,000-acre estate filled with fresh roses, romantic crystal chandeliers lighting up the night sky, and a long red carpet stretching from the gardens to a grand chapel. Bitterness welled up, and my eyes stung. Pregnant women shouldn't let their emotions fluctuate. No more looking, muttering to myself. I turned off my phone. People should know their place. A broken swan doesn't deserve a prince. Chapter 13. The wedding of the century that had the whole city's attention turned into a mess. The CEO oversaw the decorations personally, and Rita returned as planned. But the official announcement read, the bride has run away, and the wedding is postponed. I knew nothing about this during my long flight, and it was already noon the next day when I landed. Running away with a baby meant I had to go far enough to avoid any ugly custody battles if the truth came out. To book a place to stay, I reluctantly turned my phone back on. It buzzed nonstop for almost 30 seconds. Over a dozen missed calls and 99 plus unread messages. All the calls were from Lucas, and most of the messages were from him too. The usually concise Lucas had sent messages from last night until just moments ago. Here's a joke for you, someone's bride ran away the day before the wedding. Yeah, I'm freaking out. Where the hell are you? Zoe. Don't even think about running. No matter where you go, you can't escape me. I covered my mouth as tears streamed down my face. Damn it, if you'd told me earlier that the bride was me, none of this would have happened. Just then, my phone rang. I answered, and his tired yet elated voice came through. Zoe. Olivia already confessed. My flight lands in 20 minutes. You'd better be there waiting for me. Will you wait for me? Okay. If the person I love loves me back. Hesitating for even 1 second would be ridiculous. While waiting for Lucas at the hotel outside the airport, I scrolled through unread messages. Sandra, crying cat meme. JPG. Sandra, Lucas has been longing for his wife for over a decade. How could she run away? Sandra, I should have pressured you harder about having a baby. With a child. You'd never leave him. Me, confused black guy meme. JPG. There was also a friend request, from Rita. The so-called first love adding me? My heart sank, and my hand trembled as I hit accept. Rita, sister-in-law. I came back to attend your wedding with my brother. You can't ditch us now. Rita, I told him to confess to you ages ago, but he said he wasn't strong enough yet. Rita, he finally got the girl of his dreams, and now she's run away. Please, I'm begging you. Sister-in-law, my brother really loves you. Give him another chance. WTF? Piecing together the story from their messages, it sounded like a fairy tale. Lucas liked me, and not just recently, but for a very long time. Rita wasn't his first love, she was the head cheerleader for his pursuit of me? My head spun with questions that only Lucas could answer. But at this moment, there was no bitterness in my heart, only sweet anticipation. Chapter 14. Olivia called. Zoe. I swear I didn't mean to betray you. But Lucas completely lost it. It was like if he couldn't find you, he'd make the whole world dig to the center of the earth. Her description was so vivid that I burst out laughing. Looks like we all guessed wrong. Turns out I'm the bride. The company's official account already posted the wedding invitation, Zoe Lucas. What's left to guess? Olivia sounded relieved. You two were clearly meant to be. I didn't dare bring up how much you loved and depended on him before, in case you couldn't handle losing him, but now I know he loves you too. I'm so happy for you, Zoe. I didn't say anything about the baby. That's your news to share. After hanging up, my heart was a whirlwind of emotions. Were my feelings for him really that obvious? A mutual love. It feels like I finally have my fairy tale romance. As for the messages from my mom and sister, I didn't even bother reading them. They were either insults or jealous comments, hoping to see me fail. I just wanted to see him soon, to tell him we were having a baby, to hold him and never let go. I stopped by a gift shop and bought a big ribbon. I tied it loosely around my waist, imagining the moment I saw him. I planned to proudly stick out my stomach and say, "Here, this is your gift." With those sweet fantasies in mind, I drifted off to sleep. Then, I woke up to soft, familiar kisses. Lucas's face was only an inch away from mine. His eyes were red, and he hugged me tightly, his voice hoarse. "I'm never letting you leave me again." Well, you can't. I don't want to fight a custody battle with you. I placed the ribbon over my stomach. Look, it's our love's gift. You're pregnant? Lucas looked completely shocked. When I nodded, he dropped several reverent kisses on my stomach. He murmured softly to himself, "Good, good, baby. You arrived at the perfect time. Now your mom will never leave me." Chapter 15. From Lucas, I finally learned the full story. The ballerina he saw as a teenager became the light of his life. He hadn't always been so confident, with an absent father who had cheated and left. Lucas took his mother's surname. He grew up with wealth and privilege, but also the immense pressure of being the heir to a billion-dollar corporation. Every word and action was scrutinized by his family. He saw me in my brightest moments, dancing on stage, but also witnessed my most broken ones, bullied by my mother and sister. Yet, trapped in the back seat of a luxury car, he couldn't protect the girl he loved. So, once he successfully took over the company, he raced to find the love he'd lost. Straight out of a romance novel. I said, "Are you sure? I can't dance anymore. My only talent now is eating and lazing around." Lucas held me tightly, his eyes locked on mine. If I wanted someone who could dance, that'd be easy to find. "I only want you. Love and affection are never without reason." He said he loved my resilience, my compromises, and every part of who I was. And so, a week later, the wedding of the century finally took place. Only close friends and family attended. All uninvited guests were kept outside, including my mother and sister. Nicole screamed hysterically, "Let me in! She's my sister, why can't I be at her wedding?" Mom cried dramatically, "Zoe, I was wrong before, but now that you're living well, you can't just abandon us." Her tears might have looked real if not for the calculation in her eyes. But no, I'd never forgive them. If it weren't for them, I wouldn't have lost my dad or given up on ballet. Thankfully, life has more than one path. Though my body is no longer fit for ballet, my strong foundation allows me to teach. Passing my dream on to the next generation is its own kind of fulfillment. As the pure white wedding car passed them, I tossed out a card. The minimum alimony will be deposited on time each month. If you're not satisfied, sue me, my lawyer is ready. And don't show your faces again, or I'll make your lives hell. The two of them trembled with rage but cowered under Lucas's dangerous glare. In the end, they picked up the card and left with their tails between their legs. Since we were legally married now, I figured it was fine to act a little high and mighty, right? Chapter 16. In the vast rose manor, down the long red carpet, he walked step by step toward me. The sparkling crystal chandeliers couldn't compare to the light in his eyes. Sandra, rarely seen shedding tears, took Lucas's hand and placed it in mine. Zoe, from now on, I'm your mom too. If Lucas ever treats you poorly, don't even think about running, just come to me, and I'll take care of him. Rita, holding hands with her foreign girlfriend, beamed brightly. The couple I've been rooting for is finally together. Olivia, acting like a proud mother, kept nodding approvingly. Zoe, you have to stay happy forever, surrounded by love and happiness. I thought I saw my father's figure. He waved at me and pointed to a shining star in the sky. The past may be dark and untouchable, but the road ahead is bright and full of hope.